morning and welcome to the raw, uncovered truth of the awakened soul. My name is Christy, join along with Nicole. And as always, I would like to start our podcast off this morning with an angel message. So, this message today that I'm bringing to you is all about communication. And the angels want you to know it is time to clear your throat chakra. The angels are calling the collective to speak directly and clearly from their heart space. Are you communicating from your heart space, or are you masking your authenticity within the words you speak? The communication card appeared today to let you know it's time to let yourself go and be truly free. It is time to take down your veil and stop closing off your communication due to the fear of others' thoughts and insecurities. You must speak your truth to live a full and authentic life. Reflection. What about me do I need to understand within myself to communicate my needs? How can I effectively communicate my desires to others freely, expressing the way I feel and learn how to live a full and authentic life? So, I found this message so interesting considering the fact that communication has been so clouded right now. I really do feel, though, that this message is for the start of the following week when we have the full moon and go direct out of Mercury retrograde. I think at that point, communication will not be so clouded because, as me and Nicole both know, we try to put a podcast together at the beginning of the week, and the communication and the electronics were very wonky. So I feel like going forward with the 15th, this message is going to really bring out the communication that we need to share in the world and need to do so in order to grow in our spirituality and on our path to true acceptance, which really made me think about last week's conversation when we started talking about the angel numbers, Nicole. I felt like, there's a lot of messages that the angels are trying to get across right now, but because communication is so out of whack, it's really hard to read into that as well right now.
Well, I mean, as far as communication goes, it's been fun. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, I'm really hoping by next week, like everything by Sunday, I would think everything would kind of clear out. Maybe like the latest by Monday, but I'm hoping Sunday. As far as angel numbers go, I mean, yeah, I'm like an avid angel number seer. Like that's all I do is see doubles, triples. Like, I mean, as soon as I walk out the door, literally, like no matter where I am, there's some type of message for me. I mean, we could, and we're actually speaking about this because it was a request, which I absolutely love. So we did get a request to talk about angel numbers, and so we'll go into that and synchronicities as well. Um, so you know, when you see any number that's a double, right? So any doubles, any repeating numbers, right? So even if you see like 1711, but you keep seeing 1711, like look it up, Google it, and like there'll be a ton of things that'll come up and it'll say relationship, career, like what the angels are actually trying to tell you. And you kind of have to go with your instinct on that and like find the definition that resonates, like kind of hits your heart. Um, that kind of explains the message. Some of them are really nice. Like 444 is always you're on the right path, your angels are right there. You have like a ton of support, coming in from other realms. I was gonna say the other side, but it's other realms in general. It's just other realms. Um, you could see 44, 1144, like anything with 44 in it, like 444444, is always like always positive. Some numbers are not as positive, right? I can't for the life of me, I want to say 43, but I could be lying about that. But there are some where it says, like when you look it up and you're like, oh, it's great. I'm getting another angel message and it's like, yeah, you have more work to do. So, like go back in and look within yourself and you're like, oh, that wasn't really such a positive, like thanks, like a positive motivation to do anything. Um, so I see them all day long. That's all I say. And like people would come to me and ask me like what this means. What does this mean? What does that mean? What is that? Because like you would constantly say it. And I know a lot of them relate to like 1111. I mean, we use even 1111, like in our podcast. We use 1111 because we happen to be both and November babies. So that's why we use 1111. But 1111 is very union-ish, right? But that could be, inner union with yourself too. So don't think like, oh, I'm gonna be, reunited or just united with like the love of my life or my power partner or whoever because I keep seeing 1111, right? It's about you too. It's about your inner union. So you always have to take, you know, um, the definitions of the messages with a grain of salt. Um, and they will come a lot, especially when you're asking for signs, right? When you're like talking to the universe and asking, oh, okay, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And you're asking for a sign, and then they, spew out that sign. So like it's gotten to the point where they give me so many signs. I'm like, could you be a little bit more specific? Like, what exactly are you like referring to and answering? Like, because I have no idea, right? I must have like I just ramble on in my head a million things a day to them and they ramble back and then they give me feathers and then they give me this and believe me when I tell you they give me feathers they give me it's another synchronicity, right? Like
Yeah.
signs. I've had crow feathers, but crows are always attracted to me anyway. That's always fun. Crow feathers, cardinal feathers I've had. I mean, I've like not normal, basic feathers, although I have tons and tons of white feathers constantly also. And it's great. And it means that you are surrounded, by loved ones and you are on the right path and you're going in the right direction. But sometimes, it like especially when you're me and like, like you are where I am and as advanced as I am and I'm like I kind of need a bigger like a bigger confirmation than just a feather
Right.
or 5 or 6 when I walk out the door like I need but and then they'll send you like again another angel number and it's just like ongoing but just know that all of those things that you're seeing and you're experiencing are because you are asking something and you're looking for validation and you're looking for confirmation and that is the universe, your angels, your guides. Sometimes even the council steps in and sends you messages just to shut you the hell up. But always like always know that those are messages from above, from other realms, trying to comfort you in your journey. Do you want to go into specifics?
Yeah, so this is really funny. This morning I'm on my way here to the office and I'm driving in front of a car and the license plate is 4141.
Ah, there you go.
Um and then that car rears off to the left and in front of me is a lady's bumper sticker and my angels are like, read that bumper sticker. That's the message. And it says calling all angels. And I was like, this is so great. This is so great because we're talking about angel numbers this morning. And I actually have a different view on angel numbers, how I receive them. So I do feel like everybody receives angel numbers differently. When I first started
Absolutely.
my journey, I did look at the angel numbers a lot. As I grew on my journey, I didn't really look at them. And now when they come into me, it seems like they always come to me when I'm, you know, just a little confused about my path or a little off of my path. So I decided to do a little bit of a deeper dive with my spirit guide, who, funny enough, got very upset with me that I didn't introduce him in the podcast when we were talking about mediumships and everything that we hear. So I have to introduce him. My spirit guide personally is Chief Oaxacan, which also means Cheyenne on the woman's side, which is funny because growing up, I never really knew that. And I always wanted to name my imaginary horse that I would get one day Cheyenne. So I found that so funny. But So I promised him that I would introduce him. But anyway, I decided to do a deeper dive with him. And I asked him, I said, my experience with angel numbers have not been always so positive. And I felt like I would be shown angel numbers when I'm kind of rearing off of my path. So I did a deeper dive into what else your angel numbers could mean. So if you're kind of going through this time period where you're living out of your ego and you think everything is just going to show up to you and you start seeing certain numbers, which I will break them all down for you. um, they're not always going to mean that, like you said, 111 could be reuniting with somebody. But like you said, Nicole, it could be, what are you missing about yourself? Like you need to go back in and reunite with yourself. So I decided to break down some of the numbers to give you another aspect. So always think about, now, anytime the angel numbers come in, it's always positive and it's always for a purpose. But think about where you are. If you're making strides in your life and you start seeing, you know, 222 and you're coming into balance and harmony, that's great. That's your angels letting you know that you are on the right path and you are coming into balance and harmony. But if you're off your path and you see 222, the angels might be telling you that you're out of balance and it's time to go back in, and look at your life and the way that you're doing things and reevaluate it. So always keep that in mind. If you're seeing 111 and you're chasing something, and you're constantly chasing something and you're seeing 111 and you think like, oh, let me continue chasing that because the angels are telling me it's going to come to me because I'm seeing 111. No, you might be seeing 111 because you're looking at the perspective and trying to manifest it from the wrong part of yourself. So 111 might be showing up to say,
Point of view,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
that you're not manifesting from the right point of view. So 111 might be saying to you, stop chasing it. If it's meant to be, it will come to you. Um, for me personally, 333, I've always found that I'm connecting with the Trinity. So anytime I see 333, it always reminds me that the angels are with me. They're hearing my prayers. Just recently found out from Nicole that is direct to Mother Mary. So now when I see 333, I'm going to know that when I speak to her, that, she's helping me move forward. Um, if you're not, though, speaking to your angels, 333 may be showing up to say, hey, if you need some guidance, talk to us. We're here for you. So don't forget that as well. If you're not talking to them and you do need help, 333 might be showing up to say, hey, talk to me, use me. I'm here to help you. And I will show you signs to let you know that I am with you along the way. 444. If you're on a positive track, that's showing you love, stability, and trusting in your intuition. If you are not on the right track, 444 might be coming in to let you know that you're not listening to your intuition. And you need to really think about what your intuition's been trying to tell you and that you've been ignoring. So always think about that as well. You could be ignoring something and not listening to your intuition in a particular situation. And the thoughts in your minds are correct. And what you're seeing and being shown in the outside world is just an illusion of what your mind wants it to be. So always bring it back within yourself. If you're seeing 444 and you're not following your intuition, that's showing up to tell you, hey, you need to follow your intuition. 555 is my personal favorite. Everybody sees this number as rapid change and growth. However, when I see the number 555, I know that I am on what I like to call the fun merry-go-round, that I am missing something. I'm repeating patterns and I'm not growing. So when I see 555, I stop dead in my tracks and I'm like, okay, I'm missing something. What am I doing? What am I doing to keep myself out of my true path, and I'm in my own way? How am I going to clear this so I can move forward? Now is the time, my angels are trying to tell me, it's time to move forward. And then you could rapidly, sorry, succeed on your path, but you're missing it and you're blocking yourself from it. So I just wanted, and those are just really the main numbers that I think a lot of people who aren't familiar with angel numbers begin to see. So I just wanted to kind of break them down from another perspective of what it could be. So when you see these angel numbers, like I said earlier, always think about where you are on your path. And then that will direct you to what they're trying to tell you. If you are running a smooth path and you have cleared everything out and you're doing all the things you need to be doing at this time and you're seeing these numbers, read them in a very positive aspect. However, if you feel like you're off your path a little bit, or you're not listening to your intuition, or you're blocking your own energy, think of it as what you're doing wrong. Go in, clear it. And then once you clear it and you start seeing the numbers, look at it as a very positive aspect from your angels, letting you know that you are back on the right track.
Yeah, so you have the 555 that tells you that you're on the merry-go-round. I have the 707 and 717 or 71717 or whatever it is that I like always, and it's a positive message, but it's not at the same time. And you're like, great, can I see something else? Because like I'm kind of over that.
But I
Again,
think it's
these
funny
are
because
just
you
like
will,
confirmations,
right,
right?
you
Like,
will see it until you change it, or
yeah.
continue to see it until that moment happens or shifts for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely when you see that. I think I see 717 every single morning and I'm like, for real? But I mean, it's upgraded from 707. So I used to see 707 all the time. And like that is more like you have to keep working, you have to keep going within. Like everything will align eventually. Oh, okay, great. Eventually. But now I stepped it up to 717, which I can't even remember what it means because to me it means, I keep going, keep going, keep going. You got to keep going. So like yeah, those are never fun to catch. And I only ever catch them either in the morning or like out and about. Like never at night for some reason, which I guess is what is just giving me a rundown of my day. Like, this is what your day is gonna bring. Happy 717, like I'm like, great, thanks. Like really appreciate that. Um, yeah, I mean, like there are tons and tons of angel numbers, but yeah, you're right. Like the ones that like everyone I guess can like are more relatable to are, the triple digits, which are, like 111, 222, 333, 444, 555, 666, which was always an interesting one for me. 777, which is supposed to bring in super abundance, and then 888, which is also supposed to bring in like massive abundance. 999 closes out cycles, and
Right.
1010 is your, like your happy ending, your happy and then you have 1111, 1212,
Right.
1313, 1313, whatever. But I like it. I mean, like,
There's so many. There's so
there's so
many.
many.
You can put anything into patterns.
Yeah.
Um,
Even if like you're
okay,
driving and you
hold
feel
on.
like, what?
I have to cut you off because
No, go
once
ahead.
again, we cannot make this up. So I have no idea what just happened, but literally balloons just flew across your face. Some type of like balloon emoji.
It's usually like the hearts, right? Me and my son do this. Me and Dylan do this.
Oh,
I
there
don't know
you
what
go.
I
You
did.
just did it again. Oh, the angels are here. They're now you have orbs like flying around you. Wait till you play this back.
Oh, I love
It's
this.
really special actually right now, just because we're
12,
talking
12,
about the
and it's 12,
angels.
12. And it's like major angel day today and shifting. And I have to say, like from the energy, even like when did we attempt to record on Tuesday? When we did that? Yeah. So from Tuesday to like, last week or the week before, whatever, the energy has been so intense, right? But like it's switched and now it's intense, like where it's so positive and it's like upbeat and it's like keeping me up at night. And I'm like, great. I went from like chaotic energy to, oh my God, I can't even close my eyes because I'm so excited. And I feel like all of these things are coming, but I do, like, and I'm like, calm down, like calm. It's always like that major shift of energy, and I'm sure a lot of people have experienced. How is your energy level today?
So
Like,
I am feeling the same type of way. I feel like Will Ferrell in The Elf today. I'm like I'm like running all around and I feel really good. And I do feel like my communication skills have come back. I felt like in the last
absolutely.
two podcasts, I couldn't even think of what I wanted to say. And I couldn't speak the words that I wanted to come out of my mouth. But I feel like obviously our words carry vibration and our body feels that vibration. And the vibration that we were in for the past 2 weeks have has just been very bizarre. Like bizarre.
Bizarre is an understatement.
Yeah.
Um, Bizarre is definitely an understatement. Like, I mean, I couldn't even fall asleep. Like, and that's like 2 nights in a row. And I guess it hits me like more at night because that's when like I finally get to like chill and relax and the kids aren't all "Meow, meow," but like and then all the messages come in. I mean, like I was getting so many downloads yesterday and it wasn't even downloads that were knocking me on my ass like they usually do. It was just like so like okay, so remembering this, and I'm going to like ancient Egypt, and I'm going to ancient Rome, and I'm like, God here, goddess here. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Like, which usually knocks me on my ass, but it wasn't. And it was just like, and the wisdom was coming in. And I was like, am I supposed to be writing this down? They're like, no, don't write it down. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, what? And they're like, it's okay because it's just going to keep coming. And I'm like, awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole message was you're going to be able to communicate a lot more, like easier. You're not going to, like, there's not going to be any, like hiccups. There's not going to be any, like, as I'm saying, there's not going to be any like, like downtime. There isn't. So like when messages are going to come in, they're going to start coming in a lot clearer, and we're going to be able to like, speak a lot clearer, which a lot of people have been stumbling over their words, not being able to talk. I mean, it's uh, even I couldn't even find the words that I wanted to
No.
just in normal conversations. I was like, I don't even know what I was trying to
No,
say.
I
Like,
don't
I don't.
I am definitely not one to block out a conversation. And I feel like the last 2 weeks, that's all I've been doing. I go like I'm in my own mind, but I'm not even thinking about anything. It's all fuzzy. And then I say to myself, oh my God, what did this person just say? That was happening to me during the podcast
Right.
the
Oh,
one
well, that's
day.
a whole other thing about time shifting, right? I mean, we're all, especially with the 12/12 portal being like at its highest peak right now, we've been shifting like dramatically. And I know I've like touched on that, but it's true. Like we as a collective, as a whole, as the entire, world, universe, well, Earth and specifically has been shifting. So like when you can't like catch your thoughts and when you forget what you're trying to communicate, it's because you're shifting, right? So your brain or your logical mind hasn't caught up with, like where you are spiritually. So like you're bouncing all over the place. So I think like, today, even yesterday, with the energy being with the portal being so open and the veil being so thin, I think we're finally now catching up to where we're supposed to be, which is nice because I mean, I feel great versus 2 days ago when I was still in that crazy chaotic energy, not knowing what the hell was going on, and the time was flying by, and things have just like calmed down. And I want to say that and like cross my fingers at the same time, but I'm not. Like things have calmed down. I don't know what the full moon is going to bring in.
I
But
I
things
personally feel like the full moon is going to bring in even more
peace.
um peace and
Yeah. Yeah.
calmer spiritual downloads.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
agree with you on
yeah,
that.
I'm really, really looking forward to this full moon. I really am. I personally can't live in chaos. And I feel like the last couple of weeks, I've just been surrounded by chaos, whether it's just a mental chaos or chaotic things going on with the holidays or the people that have been around me. Their energy has been like so chaotic and just literally sucking the life and energy out of me. So I'm really looking forward to the slowdown so I can get back into my own body a little bit more. And I do feel that today when I woke up, I did feel myself. I was like, oh, I feel like myself today. Cause the last 2 weeks, I don't know. I felt like I lived in a rat's nest, to be honest with you.
feel like I lived in like a spiral, right? Like you're spiraling because like the time just like kept going and you just kept going and like everything was just like going, 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 going. Um, but and I want to say it was like Mars going retrograde that kind of just halted everything. And I kind of knew that that was going on, but I did hear that like it's gonna kind of like slow down the pace of everything. And not like slow down to like a slow down where you're like wah, wah, like you're not doing anything. It's just like, like a nice chill. Um, as far as like picking up on people and energy drainers, energy vampires, I mean, we got to learn, to maintain and block those out with your energetic boundaries. Those are always those are always fun, especially, in certain living situations. Um, my throat was so fun. It was like my throat was so much better yesterday, and now all of a sudden I'm like getting well already. But
Well, the angels were saying it's time
I
to
was
clear
just
your
saying
throat
that the
chakra.
angels, yep, were can't mess with those. You can't argue with the angels. Um, yeah, I think a lot of things are going to be shifting in the next couple of days, so it should be interesting. And I have to say the full moons have been fun lately. Like they were always fun for me, and then I want to say like in 2023 they started not being fun at all, and I would get like
No.
severely nauseous, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna like, and I'm not a thrower upper, so like for me to be a thrower upper, it's a big deal, and I'd be like, oh man, like I'm gonna like my head would be pounding this that, but full moons have always been great for me, and now it's the new moons that are taking the place of like the old full moon, and now like I feel like I need to hide during a new moon. I don't know what it is, but you always have to take these opportunities like the new moons, the full moons, the retrogrades, to just clear out everything that's still, might be lingering in your body, you know, uh trauma that you healed, just anything that you want to release, you should always, use these. Even the portals, like the 12/12 portal, 11/11 portal, we have the 1/1 portal coming up, you know, but, like all of these things, like use to your advantage. Like definitely do your research and use to your advantage.
Let's kind of touch base for a minute what people can do during the full moon energy or the 12/12 port, different little rituals that they can do to help maybe manifest a little bit quicker. So one thing that I love to do, especially with the full moon, um, I always write down all of my intentions, what I want. Um, I write them down and I write them with my angels. I kind of journal a little bit. And then what I like to do is when the moon begins to rise and the sun goes down, I always like to go outside, look at the full moon, take a match. I never use a lighter because I feel like matches are more energetic, and I like to take a match, and I always like to burn my intentions into the universe. So I just stand outside with my paper of intentions, and I light a match and I burn all of my intentions, and I let them kind of trickle down into the grass around me while I'm looking at the full moon. And then, me personally, I always like to call in my angels and Mother Mary and ask them to help me, bring all of my intentions into fruition. I like to do that. And I think a lot of people always ask me, like, hey, what is the full moon all about? What does it really mean? And I like to say that with every full moon or new moon, it brings upon change. So everything that we would like to have in our lives, I think it's a great time to kind of, if you want to say, wish upon it. But that's how I feel.
Oh no, I like that idea, actually, the burning of the thing outside. I'm going to going to mental note that for myself. The full moons definitely bring in change. They bring in so much amazing magical energy too. So it's like you feel alive, you feel like you're clearing out. My whole thing is standing outside underneath like a total moon child, like standing outside underneath the moon, like 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 just standing there, like even walking at night and just like kind of just like soaking in the moonlight. And while you're walking, release all of those things that you want to release. set, like, I guess it's not set the intentions, but I mean, that's a phrase that you could use, but like in your mind's eye, like bring in and say all the things that you want to bring in while you're releasing everything that, you want to release at the same time. That seems to work for me. Lighting candles. So even if you write down everything that you want to release or everything that you want to bring in the full moon, I just saw a huge orb right there, and that was kind of cool.
That was very cool.
Um, yeah, and I lost my train of thought. But light candles. So like place your intentions on a piece of paper, underneath your candle, put your candle on top and light. Make sure it's a white candle for the full moon. They do sell full moon ritual candles if you want to look into those, but usually normally like a white, any scented candle, it could be lavender, vanilla, anything, as long as it's white and pure and clear. That's also great to do during full moons, and new moons as well. New moons I usually do more intentional things than I do releasing, but it also depends on, where you are, right? I mean, you could
Yeah.
be like really good on your journey that specific day. So you're like, I need to release anything. I'm just
I'm
gonna call in
good.
everything else, right?
I'll skip this one.
Right. But like as
Check in
you're
next
calling
week.
all of this in, you need to release the stuff to make room for everything that you're calling in. So it's like a double-edged sword, but like still, like it's the it's never just like a like this is a great process to do. No, it's always like, oh, you're calling in intentions. Awesome. So now we're going to clear you out, right? We're going to clear out
Right.
all that stuff in order for you to make room for those intentions. You got it, girl. Like I'm on it. It's never like, oh, I'm here to receive and it's going to be lovely. No, you have to do all that work first.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what I wanted to add to that too is when you're making your intentions, people always say, well, I make intentions and, they never come true. And I said, well, your intentions have to be pure. So always
No,
keep that in
that
mind. If you're making intentions and you're like, Angels, I want to win the lottery and I want this guy, to show up here tomorrow with roses on my doorstep and tell me how he can't live without me. Those aren't really pure intentions. So just remember that when you're making your intentions, they need to be pure and actually be beneficial on your life path. So, think about the intentions that you're trying to draw in as well. And if they're not coming to you, most likely they're because they're fantasies and dreams.
yeah, you're also not manifesting them from a great spot,
Right.
right?
It's
Like
not
you're
coming from a
not
pure spot.
right. That's why it's not coming in. And if you want that guy to show up with roses, you better do like all the work on yourself to make sure that you think that you're worthy enough to have that guy show up with the roses, and then he'll eventually show up with those roses. Um, there was something I was gonna say, like manifesting could be like easy too during the full moons, right? If you like, I mean, my 6-year-old, well now he's 7, but when he was 6, he literally sat in the car on the way to hockey, right? And he didn't score a goal and he was playing for like a year. And he sat in the car and he was meditating during the new moon on the way to hockey that he was going to score his first goal. And lo and behold, he scored his first goal. And he was so in the mindset the entire time. And I didn't even know that until after because he was with his dad for the weekend. So and his, and his dad said on the way, to hockey, he goes, I thought he was just sitting there. He's like, he was sitting there like all zen. I thought he was just listening to Drake, right? Whatever song Drake song they had on. And he goes, no, I was manifesting the whole time. And he goes, and I stayed, like in that power. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you're nuts. Like you are
You are
awesome.
your
You're six
mother's
years
son.
old. Yeah, I know that's what I said. You're totally your mother's son. I was like, oh my God, my like proud mommy moment. But like, I mean, it is. And it's also easier when you are a child because you're more pure, right? You don't
Right.
have all the trauma that you've experienced and like all the stuff that, the limiting beliefs and everything that the world has thrown on you. It's just so much easier when you're that clear. So I thought that was like really super cool. So when you are clear and you do reach that level, your intentions, especially the full moon. I mean, like, listen, this month in general, um, is magic to me, right? Is always magical. It's
Yes.
Christmas magic, right? It's the spirit of the holidays. It's you have to remember that magic is real, right? It's so freaking real. Magic, miracles, all this stuff is real. and this is like the season of miracles, right? The season of miracles, season of magic. You have the 12/12 portal, you have the full moon coming in, you have the new year coming in. And for anyone who was on a spiritual journey for like the last couple of years, I could honestly say um 2024 in general has been one of knocking you on your ass and making sure you clear everything out so you could like go forward like in the purest of pureness. And I say
Yeah.
that in like, and I know that for a fact that it was 2024 knocked the shit out of a lot of people on their journey. Just
Yes.
making sure that they cleared everything out moving forward.
Yeah. And
So
that's what 2024 was all about. It was a
yes, it
clearing
was.
year.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I didn't realize that. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be my year. My birthday is 11/24. 24 is my year. And I got a reading. Um, and this woman is amazing. So I'm not saying anything about her, but I got really excited because she's like, 2024 is your year. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
2024 is my year. And I went into 2024 so confident that it was my year. 2024 has knocked me on my ass so bad. In every aspect of my life where I thought I was evolved, I quickly learned that that was not the case. I
Yeah.
quickly learned that I
Sorry, I
thought,
don't mean to laugh because, girl, I mean, I am so there with you. Oh my God.
oh my, yeah, I thought, I was so on
Yeah.
my game, and I was using my intuition properly, which I was not. So all of these things in 2024 came to a head. And I was very upset. I think it was in the summer, and
Mm.
I was really really angry. I'm like, I've done so much work. Um why can't I get ahead, in life in general? Why did all these things keep happening to me? What I come to learn, probably come October, what I come to learn is that it was a good year. The reason being is that all of these things had to happen, and I had to clear them out during 2024. So 2025 can bring in all of my, hopes and dreams and desires. So now I'm going into 2025 like, girl, this is your year. It better be my year.
No, I'm with you because I mean, 2024, the majority of it, I was 44, right? So I was like, oh my God, 44. Like how do you not have like a great year, right? And especially after what I just went through in 2023, right? So I was like, oh, this is
Right.
great. And I heard, right? And again, this is gonna be your year. You're gonna like, you are going to what I heard was elevate so much, like you're not even gonna recognize who you are. And I took it, right? The message that I was
Mhm.
getting,
Our
that I was
ego.
yeah, right. That I was like going to elevate and be like, oh my God, this huge success, like back to like where I was and have all my powers back and like everything's gonna be great. And I'm like, oh, you meant like you were gonna take me down like an even deeper rabbit hole. And I really thought I did a lot of work, like even like
Yeah.
over the past 10 years, and it's this like specifically and especially in 2023, all the work I did. And then I was like, how the hell, like, did I get into the situation that I was in? Obviously, because I needed to clear that deep rooted trauma where that all started from. And I had to like cut that cord. But like, and that's where it took me. Like, it took me all the way down, like, even deeper into my childhood, which I honestly did not think was humanly possible. But it wasn't humanly possible. It was non-humanly possible, and like went all down deep. And then that's when I started making all the connections to everything else and clearing out that. But like, I mean, how many times did I get back up? And during the summer, I thought like I was the best. Like I finally thought like like I was great, and everything was coming, like good. Like I was kind of done. And then I guess like when September creeped around, boom, right back down, the fucking rabbit hole. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh my God. And yeah, like it's been interesting. But I mean, it's not just us, so that made me feel better. And the way that now you could look at it and describe it, because technically we're done. It's December. December's always like, the moving on phase for us anyway. Plus our birthdays are in November, so December's always our, like restarting of whatever. But like looking back, you're like, wow, it really did elevate me and evolve me and make me like this person that I knew existed, but like didn't know like existed at the same time, which I already thought I was, right? But clearly I was
Right.
not, and I needed to do more work and I needed to really utilize my gifts and like come to terms with them. Whereas like, I would shun a lot of the medium stuff off
Mhm.
constantly. And just like let it go. But looking back, like it was a destruction of a year, but it was a destruction of who you thought you were versus who you were supposed to be, like, or who you
Right.
are supposed to be. So and that was for a lot of us, like a lot of the collective, a lot of people awakening at the last minute, in this year too, had to go through that and even more, dramatic than we did. And it was dramatic. Not even like it's funny because you talk about being in like toxic situations, right? And being
Yes.
gaslit and all that stuff. And it's sometimes I feel like you're in a toxic relationship with the universe, right? Because you're like, okay, the universe is like, yeah, you're good. You learned your lesson, great. And then, okay, so are you ready for your next one? You're like, what?
Right.
No, you just told me like everything was going to be great, and then we're down this cycle again. Um, so yeah, sometimes I do feel like it's a toxic situation, you and your universe, but it's you and yourself, right? It's the
Yeah.
relationship is toxic between you and you because it's the version of you, right, that you think you're supposed to be, and then the real version that your soul knows that you're supposed to be, and you're constantly fighting, right? And then your inner child comes out and wants to fight too, and then your higher self is in there trying to like regulate all the things, and like it's your traumatized inner child, and then it's like everybody's like just having this whole huge fight, and you're just like, okay, and then finally when you finally like just let go and like you're like, okay, like I totally give up, I totally surrender, everything kind of just makes complete sense and you become the person that you were always meant to be. But, during that process, it's all, it's so joyful.
Yeah,
Very
it's
joyful.
it's it's the mirror. It's the mirror of yourself. It's everything, that you thought you were, and then you're being shown everything that you could be. And you have to, and I feel like you have to go through, unfortunately, you have to go through the ups and downs, to really be able to, see who you are and bring your gifts out into the world. Because unfortunately, being a spiritual healer, in order to heal others, you've had to have gone through a lot of things to be able to heal other people. So everything is a lesson, and you don't see the lesson until you're away from the lesson. And
Yes.
then you always feel like, okay, I've gone through all of my lessons. So, and then no, you didn't. No, no, you
And
didn't.
you're like, no, you still have some more shadow work to do. Let's just throw this in here, over here. Um, but yeah, no, the whole thing about being a healer. We don't ask to be healers. Let's just get that straight. And anyone who is a healer does not ask, I want to be a healer. It's what you came here to do, right? That's just your sole purpose, your sole mission. They do throw you in. Well, it's not, I would say the universe throws you in these situations. You're contracted to go through these situations so you could not only come out, you know, the warrior of these situations. Um, it's so you could help other people go through these situations. And that's the whole point of being a healer is to, help motivate and inspire people to go through the lessons that you've already learned. And believe me when I tell you, we get crash courses in almost every single situation, right? I mean, the only one that I didn't have was, dealing with an alcoholic. And guess what? I got thrown into that situation like with my eyes wide open. And I was like, what the like, and that was the only thing I couldn't relate. And then that's how, and now I could relate to domestic violence and I could relate to all that other stuff because I guess that was, my one
Mhm.
last huge lesson that I had to learn in order to, to inspire and motivate other people. All the rest of 2024 or the majority of 2024 was, coming to terms with myself and, learning who I really am and clearing out every single thing that did not belong, every limiting belief, and listen, struggling is a limiting belief. Struggling and what was the word that I like everybody used to call me. I was like this like go-getter, but it wasn't a go-getter. It was like I was starts with an S. I don't know
An
the
S,
word
you
I'm
just
looking
threw
for.
me off by saying it starts
I
with an
know, like it
S.
was like I was like always on. I was always going, right? Like I didn't have a choice because I felt like I was, I was also always the masculine in every freaking situation. And I actually posted something about that this morning because I found some reel that some woman was talking and she goes, who doesn't want like as a feminine to be able to sit in their feminine power, right? In a
Right.
relationship. You don't want somebody to, oh, okay, clap or just not even cheer at all. You want somebody who's actually going to like be your power partner, right? Like to build a life with you, not that you have to like, pick up the slack for somebody else and you become the masculine. Was so burnt out being the masculine that like I mean, obviously that was the whole plan, right? The universe's plan, my soul contract, and I had to go through that whole entire thing of balancing out my feminine and masculine. And everybody, just to like not switch subjects, but like everybody has a balance of masculine and feminine. Nobody, and this is like not just, the feminine, it's the masculine too. Nobody wants to be in a relationship where you are utilizing a different aspect. So like let's say you're the masculine and if you're in a relationship where you're in your feminine, nobody wants to, like and you're awakened, nobody wants to do that. Right? I mean, you're nobody wants to do that. You want to be the masculine. Like the feminine wants to be the feminine. If you're wounded, totally different story. And then that's where everything gets off and all aligned but it comes with like also knowing your worth, right? As a person,
Mhm.
putting up those boundaries and knowing like, and having the balance within you to keep your masculine and feminine here, right? So like it's balanced within you. And then you could be with somebody else who is also balanced and knows their place, right? So you're the feminine and you could actually sit back and be in your femininity. And then he could be the masculine and he could lead, right? Not saying that you can't lead as the feminine,
Mhm.
but it's their job, right? It's their I say it's their job, but that's what the masculine is. The masculine is the leader. I would love for somebody to lead my life for just once, just for like a hot second, where I could actually sit back and like be the feminine, like just be the feminine, like still build my business, still build my career, still be the success that, I was and I'm going to be again. But like
Mhm.
just, having that balance instead of, being so into your masculine and the masculine in that situation being so into their feminine and, like you're taking over the roles where you're not supposed to be, like everyone has their roles. And that's a lot about, healing yourself, being in the right situations, learning, your worth and what you deserve and leaving, leaving the situation when it is not balanced, but all that came into play in 2024 for a lot of people. Like there was a lot of like
Mhm.
breakdowns of yourself and knowing, like and being, and becoming the alpha male and the alpha female. And and it's not like, you're confident and cocky about it. You're just, that's your role, that's your place, and you should know it. And that's the whole breaking down process of you becoming, who you were meant to be and shine in that aspect. That made
Yeah,
any
and
sense?
it's all about balance though, because you said you were kind of stuck more in the masculine side. I, however, have been very overstuck in the feminine side. And I didn't have balance between my feminine side and my masculine side. So I was very stuck in the feminine side and it became overwhelming to me. I felt like, okay, I'm Susie homemaker. I'm home doing the house, taking care of everything, being, being mom, being the cleaner, being the cook. And while that's all fine, and I am grateful for the fact that I was able to do it. I was too much in my feminine and I lost a part of me throughout the years. And there was always this part of me that was missing, like you said, living in the masculine side. the feminine part of you was missing, but for me, the masculine side was missing. And it was only now to the end of 2024 where I got to, I stood up for that part of me and I said, no, I want to get back into the workforce. I want to be living out my dream. I want these things too. And so I had to kind of push out of the feminine and into the masculine, find my place there in order to create balance. And it wasn't an easy breakthrough, but now that I'm there, I feel like the relationship is finally balanced, going into 2025, where I feel like I'm finally getting that balance. And I think that that's, that's going to come to you as well come 2025.
I mean, like, but I mean, I was always Susie Homemaker too. Like that was the thing, right? I was Susie Homemaker and I was in my masculine. So I was like, dude, I was always, and I think that's what eventually burns me out is because I was just overdoing, everything. Of course, you know, being a single parent is just joyful in itself, and that's a whole other story. Being a single parent and going through a spiritual awakening, that should be an episode and like all in its however, like it was, right? I was Susie Homemaker. I was home with the kids. I had the business and I was hustling and bustling the business. I didn't stop until like it literally came all falling and crashing on me because I couldn't do it anymore. Like I felt like I just, and again, it's living in your masculine. I don't get to enjoy even now. I mean, like I know I'm balanced, right? Um, I know I'm balanced. Good God, if all the work that I just did didn't balance me, I don't know what was. But like still, like, because I am the single parent, it's even harder. So it's like, I constantly have to make sure that I have the time for me, right? And I'm lately, it's been very difficult and I'm not getting alone time. And I am a person who thrives on alone time. Like I do not fear being alone. Like I absolutely crave it, love it, like cannot get enough of it, right? And that must sound like so horrible, but I love it. And I've missed that, like over the past, year and a half. It's been very interesting not having that on top of going through everything, like that, the universe has been throwing at me or that I was contracted to go through. I can't like keep saying that the universe throws things at us because it's our contractual obligation to go through these things. But yeah, I mean like I would love to just like sit in my femininity and like, do my thing and be able to focus on my career, which was supposed to happen a year and a half ago. Didn't really turn out that way. And like make meals with somebody and like, I think I would never give up the laundry. I have to be honest. I don't think that's one thing that I would ever like do not touch the laundry. Laundry's like my thing. But like the cooking, I would like love to just split or like cook with someone. Like, be like just but like be able to relax, like be able for for my nervous system. And I'm sure a lot of people could relate, being in my position. Like just having your nervous system be able to relax and like, oh, if like, paying the bills all by yourself all the time. Like there's so many things that like you just want to be the feminine and just be able to sit back and relax. Right. And I did that for years. Like I had to be the one making the money. Like I had to be the one like, being the sugar mama in some type of, situations. It's like I had to make sure I was bringing in the money, right? So I was bringing in the money and then I was of course treating myself and like Anthropologie was like my favorite store, right? So I would go to Anthropologie, I would buy Louis Vuitton, but it was like all myself. And yeah, it's rewarding to buy yourself these things and but it's like it's not at the same time because it's so tiring because it's like, oh God, I don't want to do this for me anymore. Like I don't want to be the man. I want to be the girl. Like, so it's just funny. I remember like when Miley Cyrus came out with her song, what is it, Flowers? Like I could buy myself flowers, I could buy
Oh,
myself
right,
whatever.
right, yeah.
And I was like, girl, shut the fuck up. Like, yeah, you can, but like you're just doing your job. Like that's like let the guy do that. Like that's the guy's job. But it was just so funny when she came out with that song. So I was like, really? Like really? Like you couldn't come out with anything else like to motivate women? Like that is not motivational to women. Yeah, of course you could buy and you can buy yourself anything, but like that's not your position. Like, let the man be the man. Like of course you have to have a man that is healed and the alpha male in order to like, the whole dynamic to work. But yeah, that song always drives me crazy. Like, like literally agitates me for some reason. I don't
I
know
could
why, as
see
soon
that.
as it came out. And I was like to the kids, I was like, nobody listens to that song. Like nobody, nobody listened to that song. Like, yeah,
But
I was
that's,
like,
I mean, but in the last probably, I would say 8 to 5 years, right? That's what society wanted women to believe.
yeah, 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 definitely. And that was just what would you call that? That's a limiting belief. That's something that society puts a limit on you,
Hmm.
right? Of what you're supposed to be doing. So you're supposed to be the single parent busting your ass, right? And then, taking care of you, right? And lavishing you and you're supposed to be all, great and going on these business trips and going. I mean, like I came to the point where I couldn't even go on the business trips anymore because, well, one, I had nobody to leave the kids with, right?
Right.
But like at a certain point, I just stopped running for all these promotions because I was like, I'm so burnt out. Like, I don't want to be the one running for all this stuff anymore. Like, that's like, I am so done. Like, I was physically, like, mentally, emotionally burnt out, and I still, like, come into play with that sometimes. Like, even this morning, just getting the kids up and out for school, I was like, oh my God, it's like I need a vacation just from like getting them out, like out to school sometimes. But it is a societal belief, right? It's something that they embed in your head that that's the way it's supposed to be. Also, there's a ton ton of masculines waking up now versus 10 years ago. We were very limited on masculines. It was all the feminines that were waking up. Um until recently when the masculines really did start waking up and it is kicking into action, which is nice to see. And I see it in like a lot of dynamics and I'm like, oh my God, it's so nice to see an awakens now. It's like
It
it's been
is.
so long. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
there you are,
It's
and
it's
and that's
funny you said that. When I go out now, usually it would be women that would want to talk about my work, like, oh, what do you do? Oh, that's so interesting. And I have noticed that lately it's been a lot more men asking me about it, which
because
is
it's all
odd
valid.
because normally,
Yeah,
men are afraid of, a lot of men, not all men, but a lot of men are afraid of what I do. They kind of look at me as somebody who can read right through them, or like think,
yeah.
just so, they're mostly afraid of it. But I have noticed that in the last 6 months, especially the last 6 months, men have been very interested in asking a lot of questions about the work that I do. Um,
Intrigued.
Intrigued. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
word I
because
wanted.
because they're calling us in to go deeper.
Mm,
And that's another thing that we do as we get called in as healers, right? So I mean, we don't physically get a call sometimes, or sometimes we do, right? And that's when we see clients and stuff. But there are people that call us in, right? On a unconscious, subconscious level, whatever level.
subconsciously,
Um,
yeah.
right. And then that's when you like, nothing is a coincidence, right? Running into somebody, being on the same hockey team as somebody, like running to the grocery store and running into somebody, like going to get your son's haircut and running into like any chance that you get bumping into somebody, it's leading you to something, right? Nothing, not one thing is a coincidence. Everything is divinely orchestrated, right? So you're there to inspire somebody. You're there and vice versa. They're there to inspire you, to trigger you to either, you know, go inside and do some work or trigger you to just like, have a glow up. Every interaction is for a reason, but a lot of the masculines have been calling in lately. The healers because they need our energy, but our whole thing is you have to remember to, detach your energy so they can do their work themselves and continue to work on them. Like I've known so many people that start, right? Like I'll trigger them to start and they're doing so great. And then all of a sudden just, yeah, healed enough. Like I'm done. No, I could
Mhm.
definitely tell you that you're not, but okay, if that's like, I can't argue with you. If you're done, then, you're done. And they'll come back months later and be like, oh, like, whatever, whatever. And they'll want to try again. And I think now, especially the last couple of months, especially it's more of they are more intrigued to keep going. It's like even if they feel stuck, they are figuring out the methods and going within themselves and actually doing the work, whereas the masculines were not doing the work and they were clinging on to feminines with a higher frequency, trying to live off them and trying to
Right.
like bypass their own healing situations that they had to go through. So now I think it's all like coming back, it's
Yeah.
all everything is being trying to find the word like balanced. Everything is coming into back into play, back into focus, back into your sole purpose, and finding yourself and having to go through that versus trying to grab onto someone with that power and trying to bypass everything, because that's not happening anymore. Like the universe is like, nope, sorry, can't do that anymore. You're done. Do your work, or like get out.
Or get out. And
Yeah.
I think that come with 2024, I think a lot of feminines have woken up, and the things that were happening to them and the people that were attaching to them, they started to realize what was going on and how that energy was pulling them back. So once the feminine realized that this energy was happening, they let go of it. And then those people, whether it be masculine or feminine, they had to then do the work on their own. So it
Recalibrate.
that exactly. So just like we were talking about last week, this is the time where you're either going to rise higher or you're going to stay in that lower vibration. And I think a lot of people, I don't want to just say men, but I think a lot of people are wanting to go higher, probably because they don't have that other energy to tug on to anymore.
Yeah.
It's not available. So they have to make the changes. They have to do the work because the other person that was holding their energy isn't holding it for them anymore.
Yeah, like I said, and I've said this like several times, it's going to be very interesting. And I've been waiting for the 1212 portal because I think I mean it's been known as a tsunami of light, right? So like this is like a whole huge flash, and it's like a whole turnaround. Even like, with the election. I mean, that was like a whole
Mhm.
turnaround in itself, and that brought massive, like, amazing energy. And but like, the energy kind of got chaotic after that. But now, I mean, I am so looking forward to seeing like who actually is willing to do the work, right? Who dived in and started diving in, like even, as of yesterday, who's not going to stay down and be stuck. And what happens exactly to the people that are going to stay lower vibrational. That's a very,
Um,
like, I'm dying personally to see that. Not dying
it
to
is.
say, like,
I am too because I think all these lower vibrational people that have been getting away with
not doing the
terrible,
work.
terrible things
Yeah.
for the last 20 years.
Mhm.
Come January, and you can mark my words. You can mark the minutes if you want to, down to the minutes. Mark my words. These people are getting theirs, whether it's in 2025 or 2026. All of these people that have been doing very horrible things, this is the end for them.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is the end. Um, with communication going forward so rapidly, everything that was hidden will now be seen. And these people, like, just take, for instance, the whole Puff Daddy case, right? And everything on all the people that are involved there. Don't even get me started. Mark my words, you're all going down in
It'll be nice to
2025.
see. Can I just say that? And I'm going on record, and I don't care who the hell
I,
hears
I
me.
I agree. I'm going on
I
record.
never liked Puff Daddy. Never. Did not like him. Did not. And I mean, I was, like in that era when he came out, right? Not a fan. Never was a fan. And I always, and this is just I would say personal opinion, but it's not. It's more my, connected vision of I so think he's responsible for, like a lot of what went down with Tupac and Biggie. And I think
Oh,
he's
without a doubt.
could be solely responsible. He played a very big part in that. And like I saw that, like, 1, 2, 3, and I had to be like 16. when that happened, when that went down. And I knew right away. And like ever since then, like it just rubs me the wrong way. He has rubbed me the wrong way. I'm trying to think of like there was somebody else that's out there that always rubs me the wrong way too, but he's definitely one of them. A person who did rub me the good way is Trump. Always been. I don't know if it was a New Yorker or me being like, that power chick that I always wanted to be like this really successful, person. But I followed him. I must have started following him at like the age of 19. And I thought, like, to me, he was just like, I thought he was an amazing businessman and I still, respect him, very respectable. I like have the highest respect for that man. Um, and I just remember like my little cousin once like coming like having me go to his room and watch a video. And this had to be like in 1999 or whatever. Or no, like maybe like early 2000s. And then he's like, "Oh, Nick, you got to come watch this video." And it was like an interview with Donald Trump and I don't know, maybe Barbara Wall. I don't even know who the interview was. And my cousin turned around, he goes, "I think he's going to be president one day." And I was like, and I turned around to him and I said, I wouldn't doubt that, like at all. And I remember walking out of the room thinking, this man is going to be president one day. And that was how many years ago, right? And but like like the difference between light and dark, right? You
Mhm.
you definitely even like, being some type of, like knowing your gifts early on in life, right? You could differentiate from like, the dark, yeah, to the light energy.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't because it's fooled in front of your face, right, as a child, but when you're like sitting in there and like you're looking at, at the TV screen or whatever, like you could totally sense, like the differences. I always thought that that was cool because I always, like I could always sense that even at a younger age. I also remember knowing exactly when people were dying. And like, I remember at some point, people were calling me the death angel or angel of death, whatever they were referring me to, because I knew exactly. I was like, I would look at that person, I'd be like, oh my God, they're dead. They would literally like, drop dead the next day, go into the hospital and then die. Like I always knew like when the people were going to drop dead. And I was like, oh, I hated that. Like I hated that as a kid. And I think I hated that even more as a young adult. And now that it's like coming back into play, I'm like, I don't like it now either. And I'm like, oh, do I really need this? Like, is this like my superpower? Like, I don't want to be like the angel of death and helping people cross over. It's not my thing. I don't want to do it. However, like some people still, like sneak in and I have to cross over, but it's not my thing. But like the whole thing is like, like if you really focus on you and your intuition, you know what's right, you know what's wrong, you know what's going on, you know what's going to happen. Everybody has these powers. It's not just, the people that are more connected and did the work. Every single person has the ability to do what we do and then some, you know? But I don't even know how that like tangent went off. It
Yeah,
like
I was like, wait,
just
we just
started with
totally
Puff
got
Daddy
off
and like
track.
went right off. But that's the universe for you, right? I mean, like I used to tell people that clients that all the time. I'm like, oh, if you want to book a certain service, that's great, right? So like, especially like hypnosis, you want to do past life regression, you want to just do like an intuitive healing, you want to do interlife, right? You could book what you want to book, but it's up to the guides once you get here what they want you to experience. So it's the same thing like with us when we're like, oh, okay, we have a game plan for today's episode, but doesn't really happen because the universe kind of takes you where they want us to go. And that's when we just start rambling on about all this stuff. And, people who are interested are going to listen. It's that's what we're like told to do, and that's what we're told to run. So, just living in your life purpose and, loving on the universe and what they are pushing you to do. Free. Be the bird. Be the butterfly.
Oh my
Oh
gosh,
yeah.
I agree. That's funny. Well, I mean, I think that we have really covered a lot of stuff today. I think that this might be a good place to end it
To wrap it
for
up. Yeah, absolutely.
next week.
Yeah, next week, coming at you live, Nicole and Christy. Sending you so many awesome vibes, especially with the 12/12 portal and hopefully throughout the whole entire weekend, week. And until we see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.